Okay, so we have the beginning of the research and the first development session for the Black Devil Anglerfish, and it's interesting. And the dev sessions are flowing really, really well. Claude, took the first dev session and did a really effective follow-up research session and brought back some research to further expand on it, to compound the value of that dev session into the next one. I got a bunch of information from Grok back on X. The information that it came back with was scientific information, was popular culture information from X and what people are talking about. And it was really effective. I put it into Notebook LM. It came back with, a few really good summaries that I can listen to that can give me some perspective on the information and how it sounds like when it's just, being spoken by two people in natural conversation. And I got to listen to that at work. So what I'm going to do on this part one of this dev session is to reinforce what we're going to do with the first episode and what our goal is. And we obviously want this to become a creative process that allows us to creatively control the episode and how we get our creative input. But right now our priority is proving that this works and proving that we can, ride a trend to get our long form episode noticed. Because getting it out there is one of the most important things. And what we learned from the shorts, from, getting millions of views and monetized channels on YouTube in like a month with baby gorillas farting and waking up their parents and lions peeing on a little baby lion peeing on the other lion's head and, a bull flipping a leopard, 50 feet in the air with a sound effect and going viral. If you can properly integrate with the algorithm, you can get some success right off the bat. I know long form videos take a little bit longer, but just in this development session, our goal is going to be sticking to a formula that gets us some success in the beginning. And right now that means emulating the people that are being successful, finding the things that are trending, sticking to a formula, being disciplined, and doing things that are proven to work. And then getting that success, getting some of the videos to have some views, at least thousands of views, which is not asking a lot of your first videos, getting some success, and then exploring making the show our own and really getting that creative control of what we're doing and something that's successful that makes it very unique. But right now we want to create, kind of a hybrid that incorporates the successful elements of shows that are doing this in the same niches that are very successful, integrating the things that they're doing effectively, the things that are causing them to experience the success that they have, and allowing that to sort of steer us into these first few episodes and how we put them out there. Because that is obviously one of the most effective ways to get, early stage success in YouTube. In a very disciplined way, stick to what's working. Allow the algorithm to do what it does, allow it to understand what your videos are, give it things that it's familiar with, that it recognizes, things that people are already successful that are doing, allow it to find your audience, to understand exactly who the audience is, and to get it out there. And then as long as the quality of the content you create is honest and authentic to what the algorithm thinks it is, some people will like it. It will get it to the right people. And it will put it out there to more people if what you've created is interesting and something that they like. So just to reinforce this to Claude and GPT and the AIs that I'm putting these dev sessions through, we want to emulate the successful parts of the different shows that are already successful in the same niches. And we're going to analyze some transcripts and some episodes of some of these shows. Pull out the parts that are specifically the parts that are specifically helping the algorithm to find them their audience. That's what we want to emulate at first. We want to identify the parts of the successful show. It's really easy to identify. These are the things that the algorithm uses to find their audience. And we don't want to copy them exactly, but we do want to emulate the things that are allowing them to be successful so that we can quickly, in a very quickly and effective way, get our first episodes out there. So that is a very easy to follow, strategy for the first few episodes. And it really is a hybrid approach to what we want the show to become, our creative vision, but also in a disciplined way, working with the algorithm in the beginning, like with the shorts. And what we learned from doing the shorts, and a lot of these people, they have learned so much from this success with the viral shorts that they could pivot to long form or something a little higher effort very easily. So that's going to be the strategy for the next few episodes, the first few episodes of Kubik's Meow Journey of Discovery, the Black Devil Anglerfish, and whatever we decide to do for the next few, whatever animals we choose for the few episodes after that. We're going to really, really give the algorithm an honest understanding of what we're putting out there and we're going to help it to find our audience and to push it out there exactly like you're supposed to do. And we're going to give YouTube the quality content that it wants, the high effort, high value, educational, entertaining content that it wants in a package, in a format that's easy to understand what it is so it can find our audience. And sticking to these principles and these disciplined parts of the strategy, it should be effective. It really should be. So this is, a strategy that we're going to stick to, and that should be very, very effective. That's the when I get to work, I'm going to listen to all the research material on the dev session on the ride home. I'm going to go over a lot more information about the black angler, about the Black Devil Anglerfish for the actual episode. So part of the dev sessions are strategy, what the episode, how it's going to be presented, and the other parts of the dev sessions are the actual content of the anglerfish. So we're really, the dev sessions are developing the entire episode and also parts of the show as we're building it. So this is an incredibly effective, this workflow is working for us. Now, we've yet to see the output, but the preliminary scripts are good. And this is just in the early stages. The preliminary scripts that we've outputted in the early stages, just based on what we have been pretty good. And that, the only way to find is when we get done and we create the visual content, put it all together. But at this point, it's looking like it's going to work, which is very exciting. And this workflow does have the startup feel. That excitement, the everyday staying focused on it, everywhere you go, everything you do, thinking about it and building it and fitting it into your day anywhere you have time. This does have that energy and that excitement of like when a startup seems like it's working. And you never know if it's going to work or not, but when it seems like it's working is when it gets really, really fun in the early stages. And that's where we're at with this right now. Okay, this development session, the value of AI is starting to present itself in some very real ways. And the Black Devil Anglerfish was the right choice for the first episode. And the way that these development sessions are playing out, there's something that happened over today that seems like it's a very, build in public teachable moment. And the development sessions, there was a lot of, me and my development partner have been doing a lot of research, getting a lot of scientific facts, right? About an incredibly interesting, fish that lives in the deep parts of the ocean. And a lot of the stuff that's just scientific fact, the little that scientists have actually verified is incredibly interesting. And once you have Claude do some deep research and you get back some facts, and you have Notebook LM do some summaries for you, and you listen to hours and hours and hours of research, then the sort of the magic happens, and the journey of discovery that me and my development partner are going through starts to take shape. And now all of a sudden you get to the creative part, and you have the scientific facts, the body chemistry, how it's changed on like a molecular level to adapt to the deep sea, and how it's given up parts of it, of its like how it functions in its immune system, and how its jaws function, and how its metabolism has changed, and all these scientific things that are incredibly interesting. And then you start to get to the creative part and you realize, well, hey, there's a reason why we're focusing on animals and science, because it's interesting, incredibly interesting. And an animal like this, the Black Devil Anglerfish, has parallels. And it started to become clear that there's some things in movies that it has parallels to. And like the sandworms in Dune, this is something that lives in an incredibly, unknown environment. That's a product of its extreme environmental conditions, right? That has this mysterious thing, the bacteria, that it somehow magically finds, and it has all these great properties that lights up in the dark, and that it picks up in this really unknown, mysterious way, and it's all these adaptations, and I mean, even to the point where it kind of looks like them. But in a lot of ways, and you'll see this as you go through a lot of different animals, science inspires science fiction. And science fiction in a lot of ways mirrors things in real life. And you look at this animal and you go, okay, creatively, something that has all these changes, that has adapted in the deep ocean for metabolism, it's just this unbelievably evolutionary, just extremely efficient evolutionary machine, right? That's optimized in all these ways. And this is where science and nature really start to become exciting, because when they make the scientific breakthroughs, they find these animals that have changed over a long period of time in these isolated environments, and amazing things have happened to their bodies. And when you throw in this mysterious bacteria that lights up that kind of floats around dormant in a way that they can't quite understand, that seems impossible, and then somehow, it finds these bacteria, and they attach to its dorsal spine, and it lights up the light on its lure, and you get to the creative part where you go, these things could potentially have something inside of them from all of these scientific changes that could, give humans an understanding of the human body. And whether it's scientific breakthroughs or things that could help with like aging, or all the things and I'm not a scientist, but I am very creative. And I do see the parallels to things in movies like Dune with the sandworms, where all of these things have come together into something that produces, and in Dune, it's the water of life. It's something that comes from these animals that are in these extreme conditions that people very, very rarely see, that are very rare, that have changed and adapted to an extreme environment, that produce something that benefits humans. And this Black Devil Anglerfish is in a very similar kind of environment. And when you get to the creative part, the Cubics Meow Journey of Discovery, this is when it really gets to be fun and exciting, because one of the purposes of this is to try to get people excited in nature and in science. And I'm not claiming that these fish are going to cure a disease or anything like that. I'm just saying that this is how science does solve problems. And this is how nature is, valuable in a lot of ways that most people don't understand or even care about. And all this money that people put in, like the marine biologists and all these different groups of people that put lots of money into scientific exploration and the exploration of nature, there's reasons why they do it. And Cubics Meow Journey of Discovery, we're going to do a segment for, a few minutes in every one of these, where we explore the possibility of each one of these animals and how it could potentially benefit humanity, to try to help people to get excited about and to understand how amazing nature and science is. And this one, it became obvious. And a lot of the parallels to the Dune worms, and because Dune's been a real popular movie, a popular book for a long time, but recently a popular movie. And a lot of people have seen it. And they saw the worms giving off the blue stuff and the water and all that stuff. These have a lot of parallels to that, and that has a lot of value in helping people understand a real scientific process where scientists and, adventurers and entrepreneurs and philanthropists, they put in a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of effort, and then all of a sudden there's a cure for something, or there's something that benefits humanity. And this is how it happens. So Cubics Meow Journey of Discovery, that's going to be part of it. And this development process that I'm putting out there has resulted in that. And the AI, I put a bunch of stuff into GPT and Claude, and I came back with information about how it's give me the parallels of the anglerfish and the dune worm, and it came back with a lot of really, really good information that kind of like that kind of got me creatively thinking about, you know, possibilities to get people excited. And this isn't to cure a disease or to go and find an anglerfish. There's only been a few of them studied, and they haven't been studied alive, and that's where the mystery is. And that's why this is such a great animal to begin this with, because there's a lot of unknowns. And the unknowns can give you room to be creative. And science needs this. Nature and science both need people to explain to people how exciting nature and science really are. So Kubik's Meow Journey of Discovery, one of the segments, one of the parts of it is going to be the creative exploration of how, you know, science could discover something about these animals or their habitats that could potentially lead to breakthroughs and benefit humanity. And this one's an obvious one. The metabolism, all the changes it's went through, how it's adapted to an extreme environment. That's something that scientists in a very real way could learn from, could extract some sort of, you know, whatever they get from animals that they turn into, you know, science stuff that creates cures for diseases or whatever, and in a very real way make humanity better. And doing so in a creative way that explains to people, you know, this is how it happens, and here's a creative example. This could be done with every one of these animals on every one of these Journey of Discovery episodes. So the beginning's just fact. This is what we know. And I think the hook should be the most interesting thing from the fact part, the most interesting thing from the creative exploration of what could possibly be, of things that these could result in scientific breakthroughs, or, you know, just kind of creatively exploring possibilities. And I also want to do a segment where it's like, what if this was a person? What would these behaviors in a person look like? And the brainstorming for this one was really interesting. If it was a person, somebody that sits patient for years and waits for the thing in the teeth and all this stuff. So right now we've got the fact, the really interesting facts, going over the facts, summarizing the facts, then the creative exploration of things like, well, this is potentially all the components are there for scientific discovery that they just haven't made yet. And then the you know, the what if these behaviors were in a person, what would it look like? That's just a fun thing. So there's 3 very real, very exciting segments for Kubik's Meow Journey of Discovery. And this development process is incredibly valuable creatively. I listened to, I think, 3 30-minute notebook LM sessions with each different focuses, with a bunch of the different research stuff. I went to GPT and Claude 2 or 3 different times to get back, you know, information and inspiration stuff and just a little bit of research. And now I'm riding home with the information that I got, very, very excited, and gonna get home and gonna, you know, put these transcripts into the video into YouTube and figure out what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Go over with my development partner, have a little bit of, you know, conversation and brainstorming, and then 2 or 3 days from now, we're gonna put together this episode. I think it's gonna be really, really good. And then we're gonna put these development sessions online for people to go through. If it turns out to be something good that people see value in, they can see how it was built. And I'll go over in more detail the back and forth, more specifics of the back and forth that I'm having with the AIs when I get a little bit more time, if people want to know. Like, if people actually want to know, like, if you listen to this and you want to know more specific stuff, just DM me and I'll tell you. If you want to know, like, well, what were the specifics of this? If you DM me, I'll tell you. I'm going way out of my way because it's helping me to get excited and to keep focused on this. But I'm at the limit of what I'm going to put into these development sessions and these recordings. But if you want to know other stuff and you actually listen to these and you like what you're hearing, if you DM me, I'll tell you what you want to know most likely. So this is the end of this development session, and this has got a really, really good creative flow to it. And it really is compounding the value of each one of these development sessions, and you can really tell.